Jessica Brown, who is one of our instructors and also a founding member as well. Jessica, you want to say hello?
Hello, all. So glad to be here with all of you.
Awesome. And we also have Miss Nicole Meyer Hubert, who will be saying some words as well. Nicole, here?
Oh, yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes, we can hear you. Awesome, awesome. Yes, so I'm going to share my screen. I have just a few slides to just give you an overview of who we are and what we do. And of course, we are here today to highlight some of the areas that we want to grow in the drone industry, especially when it comes to women and girls to take advantage of some of the awesome opportunities that we've seen emerging in the drone industry. So very happy to have Jessica and Nicole with us today. All right, so let me just go ahead and share my screen. All right, can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Awesome, awesome. All right, so just to intro again, I'm the co-founder of actually Global Air Media and the Global Air Drone Academy. Just to kind of give you some background on how we got started. We actually started Global Air Media, which you see here on the left, back in 2015. And really it was as a result of, myself and my co-founder, Austin Brown, seeing all the different ways that drones are being used in various industries, be it, agriculture or real estate or film and photography. Really was the entrepreneurial spirit in us that realized that there was such an opportunity for us to get in on the ground floor. So even before we knew that we would be teaching and training folks how to use drones, we were actually just focused on the business side. And about 2 years after we got started, in the business, we realized that, the industry really wasn't going to grow unless more people genuinely understood drone technology. And even today, if you ask someone, hey, what do drones do? They'll say, yes, they take nice pictures and video, but, do they know that they're literally saving lives, in different countries and even in the States, everything from delivering medical aid to, search and rescue efforts, to, as I mentioned, agriculture, helping to really increase the yields for some of these farmers. So with a growing population, I mean, this is definitely things that we need to take account of. And obviously drones are a fantastic tool to do that. So we are definitely on social media, so you can feel free to check us out and follow any of our pages. This is our Nigeria page here on Instagram. You can find us at gata.ng. But for our main pages, you can just search Global Air Media or GA Drone Academy, and you'll find us there. I was just going to do a quick introduction, of course, history about what we do, and then touch on our curriculum. And then I'll pass things off to Jessica and Nicole. So just again, some background on how I even got, into the industry. Really it was as a result of me not being too happy with my former career. I was actually into construction and home remodeling. And, at a certain point, I realized that it just wasn't my, my passion. And I decided to, once I saw actually a drone being used, actually, funny enough, here in Nigeria, I saw a drone being used firsthand. I said, let me look in a little bit more, into this industry and see, what everyone's talking about, what the hype was about. So since then, we've been able to grow and expand in a number of different countries around the world. Right here, you can actually see this is a competition that we actually won in Rwanda. This was in February of 2020. You can see Jessica here. We actually pitched the idea of starting the Drone Academy in Nigeria, in Lagos, Nigeria. So that's actually the reason why I'm here. As a result of that competition, and we used that seed funding to start our office here. So it's been a really amazing experience. And other than that, we've been able to use drones in a number of different areas, specifically for humanitarian use and efforts as well. This is me in Ethiopia. This is also in Bangladesh here. We were using drones to actually map out some of the refugee camps, specifically for the Rohingya refugee crisis, which I'm sure some of you have heard about. And we also do a lot of work with the US State Department as well. So at the various embassies that we have in countries like the UK, Nigeria, of course, Kenya, Zambia, the UAE, we're able to actually take advantage of their grants program, which allows us to teach both youth and adults about drone technology, and really on that bigger theme of STEAM, of course, science, technology, engineering, the arts and math. So I am a licensed drone pilot. Some of you may not be aware that there is a license that you actually have to get to operate drones professionally. So Jessica and Nicole are definitely going to talk a little bit more about that process. But one of the things that we are trying to encourage our youth is to look at drones as a career choice, and as something that they can use to even start their own business as well. So the license is issued by the FAA, Federal Aviation Administration, and there is a test that you take, and once you take the test and pass security checks, they send you a certificate or a license like this in your mail, and you're able to operate professionally in the US. So what is the problem? What are we trying to solve at the Academy? So we've seen that there's a shortage of trained drone professionals, even as interest continues to grow. And this is everything from regulators to pilots to technicians, software developers, and engineers. We've also seen that there's a low participation rate among minorities and women. And I think there's even a statistic now from the FAA that says that so roughly 7 to 8% of licensed drone holders in the US, are women. So this is definitely a number that we want to raise and really raise awareness of as well. And then as many countries, face high unemployment rates among youth, especially here, in places like Nigeria, we need to create, think about ways to create jobs in STEAM. So the drone industry is projected to grow upwards of $40 billion by 2024. This is a study by PricewaterhouseCoopers. And just to also touch on the high unemployment rate, not so much in the US, but of course in other countries, we see very, very high unemployment rates amongst youth. So again, we're based in Baltimore. We've currently done workshops in 9 plus countries around the world. I explained the African Drone Business competition. We've trained upwards of 6,000. That number has actually increased since I did this presentation. But of course, our mission is to train the next generation of drone professionals. And you can see some of our awesome coaches around the world at some of the after-school programs and summer camps that we've taught in various places. So the drone industry is definitely vast, and there are many, many different industries using drone technology. Not only is it real estate, as I mentioned, the construction, cinematography, utilities inspection, power lines, solar panels. We've also seen a lot of data. So this is more, mapping and surveying. So very similar to what you would see on Google Earth and Google Maps. But now you can produce those same type of imagery in real time. So drones are definitely revolutionizing the efficiency of gathering data. And another big theme with all these industries is improving safety. So think about, all these hard to reach areas. When it comes to natural disasters, there's some areas that may be more difficult to go to, even if you're doing some type of like search and rescue operation, attaching a thermal camera, to the drone, as opposed to, just trekking blindly, through a wooded area. There are definitely ways that you can, use drones to help improve your operations. So some of our past projects and partners, of course, we are very proud of, and I always say, we're only as strong as our partners. So I'm sure Many of you have heard of some of these organizations before, but we're very, very grateful for our partners and hope to continue to work with him. So with that, I actually just wanted to show a quick video. We had a special guest to our recent drone camp, and actually my partner and co-founder, I think I just saw him join in, but just a quick look at Secretary Pete Buttigieg, who actually visited our camp along with Mayor Brandon Scott just a few weeks ago.
Thank you all. Hope you enjoyed building the drones. We're going to get a chance to test those out a little bit later. But I think you're all pretty familiar with the game plan. Once again, we build this program for you. We do it for you. It's all about your futures. Like I said, when I was younger, there was no such thing as a drone. It was about studying and staying in the books that I saw the opportunity when I graduated from college. And that's what we want to encourage you all to do. That's what Coach Alex has done. That's what Coach Jessica has done. And that's what we just want you all to keep in mind as you go through your academic careers and then your professional careers as well.
More young people like you to take an interest, like you already have, in the kinds of technologies that are out there and the skills that you're building in order to create those technologies. And then we're counting on you to follow through on that and to support each other. Because when you build these skills, you become good at operating and creating and managing these kinds of technologies. You're building a better economic future for you, and when you succeed, your community succeeds, your neighborhood succeeds, your family succeeds. And so we're really rooting for you to continue to nourish this interest that you have.
I'm here because my job is to create a better pathway and a better city for you. Many people in Baltimore don't think, outside of Baltimore, don't think you should have access to it. But what I am here today to tell you is you heard from the secretary, you hear from your coaches all the time that you can do and be whatever you want.
It should just be static right now.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Now you should see video.
Oh,
You see video?
Yep.
All right, I'm gonna move this to a safe takeoff location.
All right.
All right, so we're gonna take off. Do you get dizzy easily?
All right.
All right, so again, we're very honored to have the secretary visit our camp and interact with the students, and of course, encourage them to keep doing what it is they're doing in STEAM and to pursue those careers. So just a couple quick notes before I pass things off. Of course, we offer all types of services and offerings at the Drone Academy, from industry-specific drone training to online learning. We have a product actually called Drone Camp in a Box, which we had to come up with as a result of COVID, where we actually boxed up everything that students would get in a typical summer camp, and we actually sent that out to students' homes, and they were able to participate virtually with our coaches. We've also done, entrepreneurship and business coaching in the form of business competitions where students are able to actually pitch their drone business idea for an opportunity to win a prize. And typically it's a physical drone that they can use to start their business. And of course, the crux of what we do is our youth programming. Just a quick example of ways that we use drones in STEAM. So if we can maybe imagine a typical 5-day summer camp, we actually focus on how drones are being used specifically, in science, technology, engineering, the arts and math, and we have different lessons that actually coincide with all those topics specifically. One of the drones we use is called the DJI Tello, which is a a indoor oriented drone for, coding and programming. You also have a little small camera here, but it's a really good way for students to learn how to code in a very, very fun way. Also wanted to mention drone soccer. So drone soccer is an emerging sport. We recently received a grant from the U.S. Embassy in Nigeria to actually run the first ever drone soccer competition in Africa. There is a U.S. Drone Soccer Association. They're actually based in Colorado, and they have competitions that are coming up. So part of our goal is to grow some teams in Maryland, of course, and the East Coast, and hopefully nationally as well. I just got word the other day that they're actually looking to make this one of the Olympic sports. This is going to be down the line, but they have some talks about that now. But if you're a little confused about what drone soccer is, essentially it's like Quidditch, in Harry Potter, and you have drones that are trying to get through the opponent's goal while your teammates are trying to block it. And it takes place on this enclosed racing course here. And this is an example of what the drone looks like. It has like a sphere around it that prevents you from, actually helps you to crash into other drones and knock them out while you're trying to score a goal. So lastly, just want to touch on the pipeline. Like, what is the big picture at the Global Drone Academy? We, of course, want students to eventually pursue, STEAM careers. So we actually start with our hands-on, programming, really to get them excited about drones and technology. Then we have different courses that lead them into, coding and drone building. Moving on from there, we have, more involved, 3D printing and drone engineering, more producing drones that can, drop payloads and, have different sensors on it. And then, we always push the idea of students being licensed and pursuing the FAA licensure and entrepreneurship as well. And, at the very top of the pyramid, our main goal is for students to pursue STEAM careers. So one thing we always say it's bigger than drones. And we really feel like the skills that students are able to learn through this pyramid, they're able to actually use in other industries altogether. So we really feel confident that students are able to take, what they've learned and to excel, from there. So with that, I'm actually to stop talking. I would like to bring Miss Jessica Brown on specifically because, she's been one of our greatest assets at Global Air Drone Academy, one of the licensed drone pilots who actually pursued her Part 107 license and has been using it in various industries as well. So let me just exit out of my screen. And
Hey, wait, can you share
okay.
the junior drone pilot pyramid again?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
I was
absolutely.
looking at it and I was thinking about, wow, like I went through the pyramid, basically. I'm not a junior. I'm pretty much a senior at this point. But the process was pretty much the same. Thank you for such a great presentation, and I really enjoyed watching it, and the video was great. I was there when the secretary and the mayor came, and it was so very exciting. I mean, people from every level of our government can also see the potential and the opportunity with drone technology. So they were just as excited to be there as the kids were. So it's really fun being to this pyramid here that I'm seeing for the first time. It kind of reminds me of like my journey through learning about drones. When I first met Anna a few years ago, I have an infrastructure business. I was doing real estate related research for my own company. And I was meeting Anna, we met at a business networking event. He was telling me about drones. It sounded really fun. And at a certain point, I was like, business is slow. What's going on? Bring me on to the drone business. And so the first thing that we did was we flew some drones. And as you might imagine, it was really, really fun. Flying drones is super fun. It's fun for kids. It's fun for adults. And I would consider that the hands-on STEAM activities, which he really kind of introduced me to. And then once I saw how kids responded to drone activities, that's really what kind of got me hooked into it, because it's really nothing like seeing kids like so super excited to, I mean, they want to fly the drone, and that makes it just so much easier to teach them about drone technology. So throughout the time I've been working with him, I've done a lot of coaching, I've done a lot of teaching, science and technology, and pretty much the STEAM concepts to kids, helping them build drones, drone engineering, helping them fix drones. Because one of the things about flying like the smaller drones, they're gonna break in some kind of way. They are so very easy to break. And kids, once they've built the drone, they understand how to fix it. So we've just been able to see so many kids like basically how their minds work, how creative they are when it comes to throughout my journey, I knew that FAA licensing was a thing, and so I decided I was going to go ahead and get my FAA license. In Austin, they encouraged me to go ahead and get the licensure. And I have to say, I thought it was going to be like super easy. I thought I was just going to study for a day and go in and take the exam. But once I saw the study materials, I knew that I was going to have to take it a lot more seriously, which is important. And this is something that we talk about a lot, is drone safety. I mean, one of the major goals of getting the FAA license is to teach all of us how to handle our drones safely so that people don't get hurt. And so we talk about that a lot in our programming. And the FAA takes it very seriously as well. So in order to get a drone pilot's license, there's a few eligibility requirements, which I would say most people meet. You have to be at least 16 years old. You have to be able to speak and understand English. And I'm getting this right from the FAA.gov website. And you have to be physically and mentally fit to handle a drone. And also you have to take the exam. So that really makes it inclusive for a lot of people, most people, in fact. And the study material.
Hey,
I
Jessica.
realized I wasn't just gonna be able to breathe.
Jessica,
It really struck me right away. Yes.
your bandwidth is a little bit low. You might need to turn off your camera so that we can hear you better. You're just phasing in and out a little bit.
Okay. All right. Okay. How was this?
That's good. Thank you.
Is that better? Okay. All right. What was the last thing you heard? Because I want to make sure people get this info.
So you were looking at a little bit of the qualifications and requirements for the licenses.
Yes. So the eligibility in order to get an FAA Part 107 drone pilot's license is that you have to be 16 years old. You have to be able to read and understand English. You have to be mentally fit and physically fit in order to handle a drone. And you have to take the exam. How did that go? Is that
Perfectly. We can hear you fine now.
Good. Okay, so it's very inclusive of most people. And I love the fact that you only have to be 16 in order to do this. So you have to, in order to have a drone business or to get people to pay you for your drone services, you have to have a Part 107 license. Okay, and like I said, only have to be 16 to do it. So once I looked at the study materials, I decided to go ahead and work with NO in Austin to help me study for this exam. They gave me additional supplementary materials, and just a few of the things that stuck out to me were things about airspace, being able to read an airspace map, super important, a big part of the exam. And what I love about it is that when you're taking the exam, if you're able to read an airspace map, you'll be able to find the answer. So it's not like you shouldn't have to be trying to, choose between different answers. You'll have the airspace map in front of you and you can choose the correct one if you've studied your airspace maps hard enough, okay? Also radio communication language, also the different types of clouds, things like that I remember somewhat from school that I just needed a refresher on. And if you get the opportunity, make sure you take lots of practice exams. So it wasn't like the hardest test. It wasn't like, AP calculus or anything like that, but it was challenging. And I probably studied pretty hard for about 2 weeks to take the exam. Happy to say I passed on the first time. And I pretty much used all the time that was allotted to me because I wanted to get it right. So once I took the exam, I found out right away that I passed. And it was really, really, really exciting, really exciting to study hard and pass the exam. And then I was able to say, to our clients, to our partners, to the other kids that we were teaching, I'm a Part 107 drone pilot, according to the Federal Aviation Administration. So, I'm in the class, I'm in the group with like the same kind of pilots that fly the commercial planes that we see. We all had to take a pilot's licensure exam. So, that was my pathway to licensure, and it's been a pretty fun ride, and that's my story.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And yeah, I'm sure we have some questions that will come in, but I guess before we hear from Nicole, I kind of asked.
Oh, you just muted yourself. I know.
Oops. Okay.
You muted yourself again.
All right. Am I good now? Am I safe?
You're good.
All right. Yeah. So Jessica, I was going to ask, what would you say was the hardest part? I typically ask you on some of these webinars, what would you say is the hardest part of the Part 107 exam?
I would say probably the airspace maps. Even though you're looking at the answer and you have like the key and the legend in front of you, those maps are everything on there is so tiny that it's really frustrating. Like you have to look really hard. You have to study it and know what you're looking at.
Awesome. All right, thank you. Yes, we have some questions, and right before we get to that, I just want to introduce Nicole Meyer Hubert, who is also a Part 107 drone pilot, and I was happy to hear, some of the really cool projects that she's been recently doing. So I just wanted her to come on, and Nicole, just talk a little bit about your experience and what areas that you are using drones in your career as well.
Hi, well, thank you for the opportunity speaking here, and thank you, Jessica, for sharing your part of the story, because it is really inspiring to hear other women who drone, and it's a great way to connect with one another and to help each other and see each other grow, because there are rooms for improvement, and it's just going to get bigger. So how it happened for me was I came from a Google marketing background. So I used to work for Google, and the COVID hit and everyone was home, and I got a little tired and bored of staying home all the time and working on marketing. And I wanted to meet other people, and thank God, Austin and Eno picked up their phone, and I called her online and I said like, hey, like I want to be involved. And they opened their hands and were very opening, and that's how I connected with them. So thank you from day one. And I got my FAA license, I actually saw a brochure in my mailer and it said become a drone pilot. And I said, what's this? You know, I never heard of a drone in New Jersey, and now I'm in Maryland. And I signed up for the class and I went to Dream Flight School, and it's a pilot course over in Westminster, Maryland. And it took about a month and a half process to get through the course. After that, you go ahead and go to the exam location of your choice, whether that's an airport or private testing center, and you take your part 107. And they give you a couple hours to complete it, and you work hard for it, of course, like Jessica said, to understand the aviation, the rules and regulations and things to do and not do. And after that, I got my license in the mail a month later. And from there, you are able to broadcast and market yourself or connect with other companies and businesses. And so what I do now is I work with B&T Engineering Company in Oklahoma. And so we do mapping. I do drone orbits. I inspect cell phone towers to give everyone better cell phone receptions. So B&T and T-Mobile, AT&T, Dish, they're trying to come out with a new 5G, because there's no such thing as 5G, but they will come out with that soon. So right now they have us inspecting the cell phone towers and to come back. And so they're able to create a 3D dimension using consultants, and I use the app Litchi. So there's a lot of softwares that integrate with one another. And then I also went and took special classes, more training for the agricultural difference and how to help farmers save money, time, and resources. So they're able to determine which crops are failing. And so at that point, they are able to save their farm. And I'm going to apologize now for my dog if he makes any noise. He hears me. No, there's a lot of room. I even spoke to like police station, and they're coming out with their own technology where they are trying to do a new software for missing people. So it's just going to get bigger and better. And there are a lot of room for new Part 107 pilots. And from there, I think it's important that we all stick together and learn from one another. And I would say where I grew the most was being able to understand the classifications. And if you're in Class B, you know, it's hard. They don't want you to, but there is a way to go to DJI and do a custom and self unlock. So you are able to fly in certain airspace classifications. If it's a restricted area, you got to contact, you know, someone that's provided online. You just do your research and see who you need to talk to in order to fly in certain areas, and just get Lance approval through an app called Aloft. So there's ways to get around the classification. There are no limits. And that's my story.
So awesome. I think I'll toss the same question to you. You know, when you were studying for, you know, the Part 107, I mean, what areas did you maybe focus a little bit more on? And yeah, how would you kind of encourage, you know, others to really kind of start that process?
So for everyone to start the process, sign up now. It's not that bad. You can do it. And I would say the most important is the classification, because God forbid, knock on wood, if someone were to fly, like Jessica said, in a certain classification and you don't get the approval that you need beforehand, you know, they will, you know, tell you this is not a good idea. So you just have to be careful, because, you know, there have been people who lost their license. So the knowledge has to be there and you have to study and be aware. But like I said, there's, you know, women who drone like Jessica and I feel like we're always here to help people understand areas to avoid and not avoid. It's a big group, but also bring a magnifying glass. when you're doing the test, my eyes are not the best, so it can get a little blurry, but I think that was the tricky part. They really want you to put your eye close to the screen and make sure you know what you're talking about. So bring a magnifying glass, everyone.
Awesome. Yeah, no, it's definitely very good advice. I can remember, yeah, straining my eyes as well. And yeah, the sectional maps, I mean, it's definitely something to focus on. But the good thing is, you know, as you all mentioned, I mean, you're essentially, you know, using the same maps as, you know, traditional manned pilots use, you know, large aircraft. So it's definitely a really, really good skill to pick up. And I mean, to be honest, I mean, this actually has opened my eyes to even getting my full aviation, you know, pilot license one day. So, you know, that's on the books. So, so thank you so much. So yes, we wanted to just, you know, leave the last, you know, 15 minutes or so just for some, you know, general comments or questions. I did see from our friends at Kids Stream. Shout out to you all. Thank you so much. Definitely remember, I believe Austin, you may have been there as well. When we went down to Southern Maryland for that program. That was way back in 2016. Wow, lots has changed since then. But yeah, definitely thank you all for that. We did have a question about flying in restricted airspace. And yes, for those of you who are, I would say, you know, in the PG County, Montgomery County area, you know, DC is of course a total no-fly zone because some not so smart person decided to land a drone on the president's lawn. What was that, about 8 years ago? So when that happened, they just, you know, pretty much shut everything down. So from 30 miles from Reagan National is essentially like kind of the ground zero. 30 miles out from that is actually, no, sorry, it's a 15-mile radius. Surrounding that is a total no-fly zone. So if you do want to operate there, you do have to get special permission. But if you have a drone that is under a certain weight, and I guess that specific weight is about 250 grams or about a half a pound, you can actually operate within those limits. But you definitely have to be careful when you're doing that. So Austin, if you're here, I don't know if you wanted to comment a little bit more about, you know, the process we had to go through to actually get that waiver. If someone else wanted to pursue that. Austin handy. All right, may have stepped away. But yes, there is it's a typical, you know, form that you have to fill out. Of course, you know, tell them about your operations and what you intend to do. So what we actually did, and it can be a lengthy process. So we had a camp at our at Oxon Hill High School, and we essentially had to be inside, you know, for a good part of it. Just because, you know, they hadn't given us the full clearance. And they're really, really selective on, you know, who they give these clearances to, even if it's for, you know, a nonprofit or, you know, a good cause. There has to be some compelling, you know, reason why you want to fly the drones, you know, in this 15-mile radius. You actually have to get some type of sign off from a sitting member of the government. So we actually had to get the councilwoman to, you know, put her name down as a, you know, as a sponsor, essentially, to say that, you know, we're going to be operating in her jurisdiction. So long story short, you know, if you have a drone that is under, you know, 250 grams, which is about 0.55 pounds, you can definitely fly. But of course, you know, you have to adhere to all the regulations, and safety is really, really important. As Jessica mentioned, I mean, we, even before the students even touch the drone, we have like a list of safety rules that we go over, that they sign and understand and take home with them. And that really tells us that, you know, they get it. They understand that, you know, you can't use drones in certain areas. And this is really, really important because, you know, some of the same professional grade drones that, you know, people use, adults use. Some of these students are getting them for, you know, Christmas, for New Year or birthdays and other, you know, celebrations. So it's really, really important that we're reaching the students at a very young age for them to understand, you know, what are the rules and safety regulations. So. Okay. Any other questions? Let's see. Provisions. Yeah, absolutely. Miss Rosemary, we'd be more than happy to come, you know, to your school and speak to your students. Like I said, we're very, very keen on, you know, the safety element. So definitely we can connect, and feel free to, you know, if you want to send your email, you know, we can definitely reach out to you and set something up, you know, for your students. Any other general questions about maybe how we use drones with STEAM or, all right, thanks. Got your email there. Any other, has anyone here have a drone that they've used?
No.
Maybe just
Can you hear me?
purposes?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, this is Rosemary speaking. We have drones, and then we bought drones and then found out that we couldn't use them because we were in restricted area. You know, my husband's a science teacher. And so now there's a real effort, a real interest on the part of a lot of the kids in our middle school programs to really get into STEM and aviation, and we're doing rocketry and that kind of thing. And this just seems like the next best transition for them. And yes, none of them are 16. Most of them aren't even 13. But they're if we could do something that would be keen interest and some kind of exposure, even if it's using Zoom or whatever, they're like sponges. And, you know, if we can link them into the importance of paying attention in school and that kind of thing, and building their academic things, and let them see that there's a career opportunity there, I can see it being, you know, whatever. So then when they're 16, they can go do what Jessica and Nicole have done, get a license, work with you, and that kind of thing. And there's and this is such a hard age group, and especially post-COVID.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, we want to kind of plant that seed. It's never too early. I mean, we've done workshops with students as young as 8 years old. And then, you know, over the years, they're able to, especially if you follow that kind of junior drone pilot program, you know, we have programs to keep them engaged over time. I would also say, you know, depending on the type of drone that you have, you know, even though you're in that restricted airspace, you can fly the drones indoors. So if you have like a gym, you know, area, or even if you have a tello, which I don't know if I have any DJI tellos handy here, but, you know, they're really, really small drones. I believe the tello is about 80 grams. So, you know, there's plenty of times where even if we're not in a restricted air zone, you know, we're still flying inside. And, you know, we have different hoops and obstacle courses that we can set up. So, yeah, there's a way that that you can use it.
And, you know, that's great. I love the idea that we can fly inside. All we have to do is convince the coaches of all of the after school sports teams to let us use the gym for a little while so that we can so that we can do that presentation, because, you know, there's a hierarchy.
Yeah, I can imagine. We've literally had to do that. You know, there's been times where we had to share the court with, you know, the basketball practice or whatever. But hey, you know, sometimes you gotta bring the politics in there.
Absolutely.
Let them use.
It's not just,
but also,
it's not just in DC, you know?
Yeah, exactly. But even that drone soccer sport that I shared, I mean, that actually is in an enclosed, you know, course. So it's about 10 by, let's say, about 10 by 8 foot high, 10 foot long and about 8 foot high. And, you know, it's a totally netted, enclosed course, you know, altogether. So it's really, really controlled. And, you know, as long as you have a room that you could, you know, run that activity. Yeah, there's definitely some options there. So
Can you guys put your contact info in the
absolutely. Yep. I'll put our general email and mine as well. Great, thank you so much. I think we have another comment about one from a gas on group. Oh, sorry to sorry to hear that. I actually know Miss Pamela Johnson from way back in the day. Actually used to go to same church, St. Stephen's in Essex, Maryland. So happy to see Miss Pam here. But yes, we are going to have another camp. Typically, we're in like after school season now. But we're also always looking at ways that we can maybe do a full like week-long camp, maybe during the holiday season, when the students are looking for things to do on their break. But I can definitely, get your email and let you know when we're having upcoming programs. But yeah, most of our summer or most of our week-long, camps, of course, we're doing the summer, but definitely we'll keep you updated with things that we have coming up. And yes, we kids stream, we still have oh wow, that's impressive that you still have the ones from 5 years ago. That's actually really impressive. So excited to see that. And yeah, there's some new ones that have come out. I would really encourage you all to look at the DJI Tello drone. We're not affiliates or anything. We're just kind of plugging, what we use. But it's a really fun way to learn, the whole coding and programming. You can actually learn, Scratch, kind of that block coding. And there's a coding program called Drone Blocks that we use in conjunction with the DJI Tello. And Drone Blocks has its own curriculum that you can, learn like Python, Java. So you can really advance, in the different coding languages using the DJI Tello. So definitely something I would encourage you all to look into in the future. All right, great. Yes, family. Okay, yes, thank you for your email. I think I have a Tello here. Actually, I showed it on the presentation. Yes.
Just wanted to let everybody know that we will send out this recording to not just to everybody who attended, but to everyone who registered. And Pam, we'd love it if you shared the recording with your broader OST network at Family League. That would be awesome. Just really, we're looking at November 16th or 17th. So we will announce the date shortly for that aviation focused event. That will be youth focused. So we're hoping to have after school program sign up for that event. It will be probably around 3:30, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Probably 4 is what we're hearing is the best time to do that. It will be more youth focused and more interactive for youth. So we'll want young people to ask questions. We might have some kind of interactive activity during that event. And that will be all focused on all types of aviation. So it'll be about an hour-long virtual event. Again, youth focused. So please hold the date either in your head. For right now, we'll announce very shortly whether it's the 16th or the 17th.
Yes, and this is the DJI Tello I wanted to show you all. So nice small drone you can definitely use within all types of airspace. So
I know I saw a article in the Washington Post about dogs being rescued with drones.
Absolutely.
They were dropping them food, and then they were trying to figure out how they were going to basically airlift these dogs with drones.
Yeah.
From like, I think there's been like a volcanic eruption in this place that they had it. I just wanted to share that because I thought that was such a great example of the positive uses of drones in a situation.
Definitely, yeah. They were dropping food. I did see the article. Can't remember the exact location, but yeah, it's definitely a natural disaster. And they were like on the roof, and yeah, they were able to drop food, to the dogs. And yeah, I mean, really, rescue operations, again, being able to use, thermal cameras to fly over, wooded areas. So Of course, that's dogs. I mean, really any type of animal. Of course, humans as well if they're lost. So there's definitely a ton of applications, and I would say it's still in its infancy. Or the really the broad uses of the industry. We're really only about 5 or 6 years old. So I really I always compare it to an actual baby, so imagine where we're going to be in 15 years, imagine where we're going to be in 20 years once the industry and the regulations really mature. So it's not going to be exactly 50 drones flying overhead delivering, but it's going to be a very controlled environment. And yeah, you will see different drone deliveries here and there, and in a much regulated airspace. So yeah, we're really just excited about the future. So
awesome. Well, I think with that, we're gonna wrap it up today, but more to come, and we will definitely connect you, Naisha, with the recording, everybody who attended today, again, everybody who registered, and look forward to more drone related events in the future. Thank you so much to all of our speakers and to everybody who attended, and we will see you soon.
Thanks so much.
Thank you, everyone.